You'll have to unmute yourself, Lisa, as usual.
That's fine.
Well, good evening, everybody. Hope you're all well, and welcome to our Monday night regular team call. Good to see we've got a few of you in now, and normally builds up as we go through anyway. So let me just, as usual, we're going to start off proceedings with some recognition, news and updates before we get into the main part of the training. So, like I said, let me just share my screen. There we go. Okay. So, as always, we always like to start off with recognition for people who've been enrolling people, introducing either new wholesale customers or new wellness advocates into doTERRA. And in June, in fact, it's not June. First mistake. I thought I'll change all the slides, got them all looking prettier, and I didn't change the month. In July 2020, we've got certain enrollments. In fact, Lisa, that's how you sent it through to me anyway, but not to worry. We have these people who've all enrolled 3 new wholesale customers or wellness advocates. So well done to Claire Sales, Rebecca Edwards, Rosalind Jones, Joel Cowrie, Dave Burtwhistle, Pat Lower, and Michaela Stadler. So congratulations to all of you. With 4 people in July, we have got Neil Young and Saskia Bo. So well done to you, Saskia, as well. And also we have got with 5 people enrolled in July, congratulations to Judith Stadler and Lisa Burke, our own Lisa Burke. And with a massive 8 people enrolled so far in July, congratulations to Vanessa de Noguera. Hopefully I've got that right. And top of the shop so far in July, there's still time, is Alison Thomas with a whacking 9 people enrolled so far. And we're only on the 13th of July, so there's plenty of time for those figures to be usurped. So absolutely fantastic. Well done to all of you. Now, just a reminder, of course, that this month, I mean, this is the first one that we've done this month, the way it's fallen, of course, we have still got the extended enrollment incentive on all the way through July. And this is for anybody who, we had this in June, but just as a reminder, anybody who enrolls in a Home Essentials, with a Home Essentials kit, or with a Family Essentials kit, or 100 PV order in either in July, and sets up a 100 PV loyalty rewards program in August. In September, there's 100 free loyalty rewards that are actually given to that person to spend on whatever they like. And that's normally 100 loyalty points. If you're not sure about that, is worth approximately $100 US. It's not exact, but it's not far off. And this particular batch here, this is just an illustration of some of the things that anybody who enrolls would actually see. So that's a brilliant, brilliant enrollment offer. So make sure that you take good use of that. Now, many of you would have known, in fact, all of you should have seen, Lisa posted out last week about this Thursday at 8:30 p.m. We've got our Essential Health class back again. We're tending to run these on a monthly basis now. And this time we've got, it says here, founding principal of the Cambridge College of Holistic Health. Many of you know her, Rachel Pernack-Brennan, will actually be joining us to do this particular Essential Health class. A little bit different than before, and she'll help you understand, as it says here, which essential oil application is best for different needs, whether it should be topical, aromatic, or internal usage. And also she'll be dealing with the question, are we treating rather than healing as well? Now, like I said, many of you would have seen Rachel do our webinars previously, you know, over the last few months really, but this time it's going to be very much sort of aimed at customers rather than wellness advocates as well. So make sure that you join us. Now we will start making sure that we push this again on our Facebook group, the essential, you know, take a note of that, or you'll, I no doubt, find a link in either the TVE group or in our group, the doTERRA Elite Club as well, to that group, and and make sure you set up your event for Thursday evening, okay? Most of the stuff will be there. Well, everything will be there over the next sort of 24 hours that you will need to help you push forward with that. But I'd highly recommend you do that in the next 24 hours to get that up and running for Thursday evening. And also just a reminder as well, we have our intro to oils, essential oil classes this week, Tuesday the 14th at 7 p.m, Thursday the 16th at 11 a.m, and also Saturday at midday. And any prospects who may be interested in the business, please feel free to send them to that web address, learntheessentials.info, and the room's open around about 20 minutes before the start, and you'll see the presentation. The presentation will be done for you, and all you need to do at that point is follow up to see if your prospects are interested, of course. So I think that's pretty much, yep, on my side. Let me just stop sharing that. So I will pass you back on to Lisa. Lisa's going to be telling you now, obviously, what we're going to be covering for the rest of the evening. You there, Lisa?
Brilliant. Thanks, Andy. Congratulations to everyone that was in the recognition. And yeah, we're really excited for Thursday. I've been speaking to Rachel, and she's got a great presentation for customers. If you remember, it was a few weeks ago, a couple of months ago now, she did an amazing class presentation for you on one of our Monday night calls, on our team call, and we had so much great feedback that wouldn't it be amazing if we could open that up to customers. So I'm really, really excited about Thursday. So get your group set up and ask us to co-host your events, and let's get as many people as we can into the room on Thursday night. Okay, let's share my screen. I've got a few different things for you tonight that I wanted to share with you, some stuff that people have asked me questions about over the last couple of weeks, and just things that I felt, yeah, it would just be good to sort of clarify on tonight's call. And then also we're going to have a bit of a fun, hopefully, at the end with a little exercise that I set you. Hopefully some of you have bought lists of different places that you have spoke to people about doTERRA. If you haven't, just make your list quickly while I'm talking, because you could win a prize. I've got 3 prizes tonight for the people with the longest list. So let's get this slide up. Anyway, let's first of all deal with this question. So some of you have asked me that you have seen different wording for CPTG. And has doTERRA changed the CPTG, which we all know and love, that stands for Certified Pure Therapeutic Grade? In some places around the world, they've seen this wording, Certified Pure Tested Grade. So what is the difference, and why is there a difference? So CPTG, of course, is our Certified Pure Therapeutic Grade mark. However, there are some markets around the world, and it could well be that Europe becomes included in that. I can't say for sure on that, but certainly there's already some markets around the world where the word therapeutic is treading a little bit of a fine line, because we all know that we have to be very careful about what we actually claim in terms of whether it's a medicine or whether it is a therapy. And so because of that, doTERRA in some places have taken a little bit more of a sort of a position where they're going to make sure that they don't sort of break any kind of rules. And so that's where you will have seen, or you may have seen, this CPTG. Of course, it's still the CPTG mark, but where they've just changed the word therapeutic to tested. Now, actually, the sort of purpose around that, to me, and just sort of like to explain a few other things about it, is the actual CPTG mark itself isn't the important thing. Okay, it's important as in that it gives us that seal of approval. But what is the most important thing is what lays behind CPTG. what does CPTG mean? And what CPTG means is that when you see this mark, you can, without doubt, be confident that it means that the oil reaches all of these standards. So the fact whether it's therapeutic or whether it's pure becomes a bit of a moot point because it means all the same thing. So I'll explain that in a little bit more detail, so just in case I haven't been clear. But that brings me on, before I do that, to a second question. And you may have come across this and been asked it, and I certainly have a few times, where people say to me, okay, CPTG, so it's doTERRA's mark, right? So if it's doTERRA's own mark, why is it such a big deal? Because doTERRA's given themselves a mark. That mark they've trademarked, but it's doTERRA's mark. So why is it so important? It's not like being given to them from an independent body. And so my answer to that, and the important thing to understand about that, is why the CPTG mark was ever brought into play in the first place. So when our founders first founded doTERRA, it was out of frustration that there was no company in the whole world that was being transparent, that was telling customers the truth about what was in the oils or what wasn't in the oils, or how the oils have been sourced, etc., etc. So what they said was, we want to do things different. We're going to go direct to the farmers, and we're going to insist on certain conditions in order to be able to be transparent and give our customers the very best oils that exist on this planet. And in order for our customers to know that we're going to do that, when they see this mark, they will know that these things have been done in the production to give it that mark. So the fact that it's doTERRA's mark is absolutely, again, it's a moot point. It's neither here or there. The important thing is, what does that mark stand for? So whether it's called therapeutic, whether it's called tested, whether it's been given by doTERRA itself, none of that is important. What is important is, what does it actually mean, and what does it guarantee to our customers? So just to remind you, I'm sure you're all familiar with this, but really quickly, remember, it's better than organic. Lots of people say, oh, well, we can buy organic oils cheaper elsewhere. Of course you can, because ours aren't just organic, they're better than organic. And why are they better than organic? Because we use the best quality plants, the top therapeutic species of that plants. Most oils have hundreds of different species just of one particular oil, and you have to have the very best species to get the very best oil. So, you know, lavender isn't lavender oil, you know, for every single species that's going to be therapeutic and quality grade. You have to use the best distillation method. So we all know that most of our oils are steam distilled, but did you know that within the steam distillation, there can be different grades of distilling? So you can distill with solvents, which isn't great. You can distill very automatically, which doesn't often give you the best grade essential oils, or you can distill much more manually, which gives you a better quality. So the absolutely top grade distillation method needs to be used. It needs to be first pressed. Did you know that some people use the same ingredients to the actual raw material more than once? So it's a bit like, I always say, like, how would you like to drink a cup of tea with a tea bag that's been used more than once? That would be the same with your essential oils, the steam being distilled and put through the material more than once. Has to have the best soil in the best country for that oil. Has to be harvested at the best time of year. Some farmers will harvest more than once a year oils that you can only get the best quality once a year, and they have to grow in their natural habitat, where some farmers will force the plant so that they can get twice the amount of oil from the same ground over a period of 12 months. But you absolutely, each oil, depending on the time of year, produces the best oil. Our independent testing house, they came and spoke to us at a convention a year or maybe the year before, and they shared with us that 95% at that time, 95% of all of the essential oils that they independently test had some other ingredients in them. So they were not 100% pure. Our fair trade conditions are part of our promise, that we are paying the farmers well and that we're paying everybody well that is involved in the process of producing the oils, and that we are the most tested essential oil. Our oils are the most tested oils anywhere around the world, and that they're independently tested. And then a huge one for me, I love, anybody that has been on any of my calls know that I really talk quite often about Source to You website. I love this website because it is everything that I love about doTERRA, that doTERRA stands for, with the doctors, with the scientists, and with the fact that we can put this batch code into that site and we can see the batch testing results of this particular oil that's in the bottle to prove that the oil is the best oil and it's got all the right components within it. So all of those promises that you can see on this screen are what make up that mark. So the important thing is this part, to know when you see that mark, when you see CPTG, this is the promise that the company is giving us. So I hope that helps you sort of handle that and know in your own mind, if there's any questions around CPTG, that is, you know, that's what it's all about, and that is the important part of it. So with that in mind, just a sort of a continuation on that sort of that whole compliance thing, I just wanted to mention that obviously we sort of, with obviously the heightened thing with the what's going on right now, we have to be a little bit extra careful than we might have been in the past, and the company's being extra careful. If you have any doubts whatsoever about what you can say and what you can't say, this is what I do. Again, just a little practical bit of advice is, if you Google doTERRA compliance, you will be able to find this list online, and it's just a really simple sheet in the left-hand column. It's what you want to say. All right, because we know these oils do so many amazing things. And on the right hand side, it's how we keep what we want to say compliant. So that will just help you, and you can just go into that compliance, and it's on the doTERRA.com website, and it just helps you sort of keep on track with compliant language when you're talking, especially when you're talking in a public place. So that raises another question. This is one that I've had this week. Okay, so because we want to make sure that everything what we say in a public place and what we send public, especially after we've done classes, so we've maybe done a private class, but then we want to send things to people, and we want to make sure what we're sending them is sort of compliant. What is it that you send, Lisa, to make sure that keeps you on track? So you've all got access to the Very Essence Hub, which is tve.life, so www.tve.life. When you go into there, if you haven't been in there before, you need to go to the hub area, and the first time you go in, you need to sign in order to get in. There's a little sign up at the top. Just put your email address and choose a password, and then you can get in there. And you'll find on there's this download site here. And just to help you, I've put a new tab in there called what to send after a class. And there's 3 documents. And so this is when somebody says to you, oh, can you send me some more information, when you've been speaking to them. I send them the Essential Oils for Beginners ebook. I also send them the 150 uses for the Home Essentials kit, because you obviously talked about the 10 oils. And then I've also got in there, that you might find helpful, an auto enrollment form. What does that mean? It's basically they can open it up on their computer. It has to be done on a computer. It can't be done on a smartphone, but they can open it up on their computer and they can type in on their computer the areas for their names and address and just send it back. So I was finding a lot of people hadn't got printers and they couldn't, fill in the details. So that's an automatic form that you can use. So you're very welcome to go onto my download site and just take those things off. Obviously the ebooks, probably where to get them from the doTERRA site anyway. And then you can use that form. So hopefully that is helpful to you. Okay, another question I've had this week, interesting one. So lots of talk around the Super Woman's Blend, and I think this has been mentioned. I think Beck's mentioned it on the call last Monday, and there's videos running around, and I put a video on the Very Essence group. And then I actually got asked, is there a Superman blend? And I had a little look and I couldn't find anything too much on a Superman blend. So I thought what I'd do is put one together for you. So you see, you men that think I'm always taking the mickey of your haircuts, I'm being really kind of you tonight. I'm going to put a blend together, but before I do, I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. So for art, we've got lots of supermen in our life. And of course, the ladies, the Super Women blend was all about a blend that will help us to support our life, our busy lives, and keep us grounded, keep us in a happy place and free of stress, etc., etc. So I sort of decided I needed to look at what we needed in order to give our men the equivalent. And of course, when we look at guys, I know actually Andy did a class or a training on here on men's blends a few weeks ago. But when it comes to men and their emotions and their stress, you're wired differently to us women. There's a good book, isn't there? Men are from Venus and women are from Mars, or is it the other way around? That's sort of a good insight to how we handle ourselves in stressful situations. But basically, the way that they react to stress goes right back to the hunter-gatherer instinct. And when there's danger around, adrenaline flows really strongly in the body, and the hormones go into this sort of overdrive with this adrenaline. And men's bodies tend to go more into this sort of like survival mode. And when they get into like this stress, the bodies release the hormones that help them sort of fight and protect the family. I mean, that is basically sort of going back in time. Now, of course, we need, men need their bodies to react differently, but they're still wired in that same way. So understanding this unique way that men actually react to stress is important to then be able to put a Superman blend together. So what happens when this sort of like hunter-gatherer instincts come into play, and I say you go into this sort of fight mood, or men go into this sort of protection mode, then the hormones can then tend to raise the blood pressure. So that's why sort of men are often more susceptible to blood pressure and heart stress sort of related to that. And then consequently, the way their bodies react to all of that is to often go inward. And so we all know that men don't cope on the whole. I'm talking very on the whole here, with emotions in quite the same way as us ladies do. And we have different coping mechanisms. And as I say, often men can go inward and cope with it in a very different way. We sort of like, certainly in my house anyway, I fire up and then I'm down again. And I wonder why my husband sort of still, in a week's time, still is in a little bit of a grumpy mood over something I might have said and forgotten all about in about 10 minutes flat. So thinking about all of that and putting oils together to make a Superman blend, this is what I came up with. So I've actually got it here somewhere. Oh, I might have left it in the kitchen actually, because Tony's actually been using it. And it absolutely smells gorgeous. So it can actually be used as an aftershave type application as well. And you can see there, this is in a 10 ml bottle. So you can see how many drops I would recommend of each of these oils. And you put it into a 10 ml roller bottle and then top it up with fractionated coconut oil. And so what these oils will do, there's a combination of oils to work on those emotional balances. Oils like marjoram are brilliant at helping regulate the blood and the pressure of the blood. Ylang ylang is very relaxing. It's also an aphrodisiac as well, but don't worry, because the marjoram's an anti-aphrodisiac, so the two will be working against each other, so you won't be too concerned there. Wintergreen we know is great for pain, so this in a blend, just really lightly in the blend, will also help the body as well to relax and take any pain that's out of the body. The same with ginger, but ginger is a great grounding oil as well. Frankincense, we know everyone needs frankincense in their life, including our men. And black pepper is another great one for the sort of the whole nervous system and to help keep the body calm. So it's a great blend. I think not only will it help sort of the hormonal and the relaxing and the blood pressure and all of those things, it will definitely be an amazing one for anxiety, male anxiety, and to just keep the body in really good order. So I hope that is the answer to what about us men. It was actually mainly asked of me from women that wanted it to help their men. So I hope that will help you as well. And then I wanted to just talk to you now a little bit about sharing. So sharing the oils and creating your sharing funnel. So this is how I want sort of to talk about sort of the process. So we know that when you are building your doTERRA business, that the action of inviting is a process. And in order to be able to grow your business, you need to be looking at sort of that whole sort of funnel operation and running that operation in your business all of the time. So it's not just, you know, things don't sort of happen overnight. Sometimes you can be speaking to people the first time you speak to them and they love what you've got to talk to them about, and they instantly want to be part of doTERRA. And then other times you can be talking to people for months. I've had people that it's taken over a year before we've actually got to anything, any kind of commitment. So really having this sharing funnel, having people and making good notes of people you're talking to and making sure that you're doing really, really great follow-up. So the job that you're going to be doing and that you are doing, I know, is this generating of awareness. So it starts with that awareness. And of course, that's through what you're doing with social media, maybe events. We can start doing soon. I think actually I did my first face-to-face in 4 months on Saturday, which I was really excited to do. So we're going to be able to do that again soon. Personal interactions, word of mouth, our warm market, established clients, and of course the one that we do a lot of and have been doing more and more in these last few weeks, are paid advertising. So all of those things are going to help us create awareness. Then we're going to build up interest, and we're going to start building relationships with those people that we have created awareness with and start having conversations with them. And then we create desire, and desire is through samples sometimes, whether it be through sharing other people's testimonies and other people's experiences and keeping then the conversation going. And then we invite them to something, and that might be one of your classes or one of our classes. And then from there, that's still often only the beginning. We invite them, and then we follow up with them, and then we keep following up with them, and we keep them in this funnel and ensure that we sort of keep connected to them. So I don't know how many of you are doing the Elise Shedovy training, but I'm having amazing feedback from the oil classes. But before you do the oil classes, if you haven't done it already, I highly recommend the Elise Shedovy podcasts. And with those podcasts, she goes through a names list and a warm market. If you have gone straight to, say, doing online advertising and not even thought about your warm market, I really would encourage you to go back to your warm market. Carry on, obviously, doing your advertising. I'm not saying don't do that. I'm just saying don't miss out on all of those people that are around you. They could be warm market people you know, or they could be just people that you come into contact with every day. And you don't want to miss up that opportunity to tell them about these amazing oils. So in the Elise Shedovy training, she talks about ranking. She talks about getting 100 list, and she talks about ranking them and giving them a point for all of these things. And the first time I listened to this training and I heard about this, I thought, oh, that's quite judgmental. I thought, like, oh, so she's saying give them a mark if they're female, don't give them a mark if they're male, give them a mark if they're between 30 to 55, but if they're under or over, don't give them a mark. So I want to tell you a little bit more about the thought process and why I then realized what she was teaching was Elise Shedovy has got a huge business. Okay, she's got, I don't know, probably 1 million people, and under her, somewhere in her organization, they won't all be building the business, some of them will be customers. But what she did is she commissioned and paid for a research document where she had people go to all of her builders and the people that have done well and ask them questions and found out what categories, what demographics they came from. And what she found overridingly is the people that had done the best in the business came from these categories. That doesn't mean that if you're a guy, you can't do well. It doesn't mean that if you're over 55, you can't do well. Of course you can, because we know we've got very many successful guys in the business and in our business. So that isn't the case. What she's saying is, in general, from all of these people, these were the things. So when you rank your list and you get somebody that's got a 7 by it, they're probably more likely to be great at doing the business than somebody's got a 2 by it. It's just a little bit of insight to help you decide all those people that you are probably going to speak to first from your warm list, and you go with your 7s and 6s, and then you'll meet somebody and they'll be completely there's always a contradiction to these rules, and that's absolutely fine too. So she talks about the warm market. So I have a list here, I'm not going to share it with you just yet, of some of the probably funnier places that I have met people and ended up talking to them about doTERRA, essential oils, and getting them involved with essential oils. So I will share my list. But before I do that, I am going to stop the share, and I'll come back to the share in a moment. And I'm going to come back on the screen, and I hope you're all going to be kind to me. And there's somebody that's going to tell me I have got a list. You, not me, you. I've got a list of all the places. Now, I think I've got 30 on my list, 30 different places. Now, it's long, it should be longer than that, but I stopped at 30 because I've run out of time. So let's see, is there anybody that's got a list that's more than 30? This is when you all go quiet on me. Let's see, there's a chat. Anybody got a list more than 30? Okay, anybody got a list? Put your hand up if you got a list. Okay, Corianne, how many have you got on your list?
I have to confess that I wrote it quickly while you were talking at the beginning of this. I've got 5.
Okay, you've
six,
got 5.
sorry, six.
Okay, okay, do you want to share them with us?
Okay, the first one, which was quite unusual, I was in a field.
Okay, love it.
At an event in a field, and I spoke to them about the oils, and I actually had some oils with me. I gave a sample. I work in a museum, and so I spoke to people that they bump into people there, and I talked to my work colleagues there about it. I also Morris dance, and I speak to people there. In fact, the first person I enrolled is a Morris dancer from there.
Brilliant.
I sometimes speak to people on Zoom, obviously, at events, and spoke to my neighbour over the fence.
Brilliant.
The other places, but that's all ones I could think of in the time before I started writing.
Brilliant. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Welcome.
Has anybody else got a list they want to share? Oh, shall I tell you what the prizes are? Top 3. I've got a 5 ml aromatouch. I probably should have told you this before, bribed you with the prizes, shouldn't I? I've got a 5 ml aromatouch. I've got a 5 ml Serenity. And I've got 5 ml Forgive. Okay, anybody else want to share their list?
Oh, I have only 30 minutes to write down the list, but I have 59 on the list.
I told you, see, I said to Saskia earlier, she's going to win a prize tonight. 59, okay. I don't know whether we've got time to listen to 59. Pick out your best ones.
Okay, dog school.
Dog school.
It's so amazing.
Yeah. Tell us about it. We're all, what do we do if we haven't got a dog?
Go and
somebody's dog. I've got 2
go
here.
and say you will look on the dog. So, pet shops are very good. Flower shops, bakery, petrol station.
What do you do, Saskia? Just walk into the shop, or just hang around outside, or what do you do?
No, go in.
And do what? Talk to the others.
And talk about the smell and what can oils about smell on pets, and also how amazing are oils when you will any shampoos make for dogs or whatever. So it's amazing.
So you just walk in and speak to whoever's on the counter?
Yeah.
Okay.
On the train, on the supermarket, on the ship, on the petrol station, on the car wash, on the kindergarten. And one thing, I think it's very important for many, many people, when you have around you a group from Weight Watchers. They are very interested to have 1 week other course as only Weight Watchers. So they are very happy when you go and tell them that, can I talk a little bit about essential oils? They are very happy.
Yeah, you go into one of their classes?
Yeah. And at the breakfast and at one of my hotel nights, in the morning, when I stay alone in a hotel often, in the morning I go never and sit alone on the table. I look every time around which people I like, and I say, sorry, it's a free place. I don't like to eat alone in the morning. And so it's also very nice.
How do you typically sort of get onto the subject of essential oils? Do you have a typical way that you would bring up?
I listen every time the people, and when you listen very good, you will find your key. It's not every time the same. Please listen to people, take questions around her life, and you will find your key for the essential oils.
And one thing that I found that is really a great conversation starter, like in those sort of setting that you've just talked about at sort of breakfast, or if you're in a business lunch or whatever, is actually get your oil out and use it. You know, like get a Digest-Zen out and put it into your water, and everybody's going to say, "What's that?" And you know, would you like some?
I do it in the morning every time I have only a cup of water and put out my peppermint oil for a peppermint tea.
Yeah.
So many people around me look about this.
Yeah.
At the taxi, at the hospital, at the plan. And one time I stay on the airport and I go in the toilet, and was not so nice, and I put out my oils and wash my hands and put on guard on side. And one lady looks and say, "What you do?" And so we had a nice conversation on the toilet on the airport. So around the world, one time I go and book a travel, and the travel agent, we have a talk about which different oils came from which different areas in the world, and yeah, it's a never-ending list.
Exactly. Yeah. So the list, the task was, or the challenge was, not your 100 list, but a list of people where you have actually spoken. So with, you know, what places have you actually spoken to people? So is there anybody else that is has got a list?
Hi, Lisa.
Hi, have you got your list, Andy?
Yeah, well, I've got a list here of about 183. I've just been counting up. That's why I didn't ask straight away. But I've only probably tell you one, though, in that time, because I know you're going to be restricted for time. But I don't know if 183 will get me.
You've got 183?
Well, something like that.
Blimey. All right, tell us your best ones.
I'll tell you the best one, okay? And it's actually, it was a meeting, it was a health and wellness day in Milton Keynes.
Yeah.
And I'm now going to bring the conversation right down, but I remember at the break going to the loo, and somebody messaged me while I was in the loo. Sorry to be, I don't want to get too visual here. And
we don't need that much detail.
No, they messaged me when I was in the loo. That was it. Okay. What do you want me to say?
Is that bit the story?
I went to yes, basically.
Okay, all right.
Anyway, I'm not going to go into the full details and timelines, but by the time I came out of the loo, they signed up and sent me their details. And I came back into the meeting on that day, and I tell you, I had some impressed advocates in our team when I said I've been to the loo, and in that time I've come back and I signed somebody up on a family essentials kit.
Wow.
There you go. I've got another 100.
Where did that person come from?
I don't know. It was ages ago. It was a prospect. It was a prospect from an online advert.
Oh, okay.
We'd actually put in. I didn't find them in the loo. They weren't actually in.
I was going to say that's not what the exercise was. It was all the different places that you found them. So I'm going to disqualify you.
You just don't want to send me an oil, do you? That's fine. I understand. Any reason not to? I'll just keep quiet. You carry on.
Okay, but it's still a great story. Well done.
Thanks. Probably completely unnecessary, but there you go.
Okay, Jolene, has a contact list of 100 plus, not being able to go and speak to individuals, so I use social media. It's my next best. Brilliant. Do you want to share any of those with us, Jarlene? I don't know. You're talking on chat, so probably you can't hear or speak, so I don't know. Well, you can probably hear, but you probably can't speak. So are we still there? Okay, right. So I am going to, is anybody else, before I share my list, has anybody got any lists that you'd like to share or talk about any kind? It doesn't matter if it's just one. You can talk about your one really sort of standout moment when you was talking to somebody about the oils that you remember, but you don't have to. You've all gone shy on me. Okay.
Hi,
all right.
Carol.
Oh, hi, Carol. Now this is amazing because Carol, is this your first call, Matt, Carol?
Yes, it is.
Well done. So Carol's going to speak up.
So I do quite a bit of crafting because I've got a chronic illness, so it keeps me busy. And the other day I had just happened to go on an online shop that was advertising a sale. And the lady was saying what type of craft I did, and I was explaining that. And then I'd mentioned candles, and because I'm now doing essential oils, automatically that came into conversation. And by the end of the conversation, she'd asked me for a sample.
Brilliant. And that's in what, your first week in the business?
Yeah.
So it's amazing. And that, you know, we often talk about you don't do the selling, the oils do the selling for you. And that's a really prime example. So brilliant. Well done, you. Okay, let's go over to my list. Okay, so this is my list of all the places, the different places I could think where I'd either recruited people or approached people. So taxis are brilliant places to talk to people because they always ask you where you're going. And quite often I'm going somewhere that's something to do with the business. So that's the conversation starter. But even if not, you can get the conversation round to why you're there or something to do with oils. Mini golf, right? I remember enrolling somebody on the mini golf course just because how this conversation started was because I was wearing some oil. That's a great conversation starter. Always wear your oils because people are like, oh, you smell nice. And they were queuing up behind us to play mini golf. And then you have a conversation. Maternity ward. Now, I wasn't actually in labour at the time, but I was in the maternity ward. School gates, obviously, perfect place where you can talk to people. Friends of your children's, parents, the children's friends' parents. Holidays is a great one when you're sitting around the pool. Football matches, reunions, old school friends. These are all experiences that I've had, not just where I could have. These are all places. Weddings, pub, hotel foyers, hotel lift. I have actually enrolled somebody in a lift, or at least started the conversation in a lift that turned to an enrolment. Flights are the best, are one of the best places because you sit next to people and have conversations. So I have enrolled a lot of people and I've been sat next to them on a flight. Children's park, when your kids or your grandchildren, I had one this weekend when we took our granddaughter to the park. Cruises, went doing one of those for a while again. Dance festivals, just anything that you're involved in with the children. Delivery people, this was one of my favourite ones. Jehovah's Witnesses, they come knocking on your door, then they need to know what you have to offer them too, and they're quite excited to know what it's all about. School teachers, hairdressers. My hairdresser that I'm going to see tomorrow, she is a customer, has got a wholesale account. My nail technician has got a wholesale account. Babysitters, opticians, again, you know, you're in front of people. Anybody that comes to the house that does anything any kind of work on the house. I recruited my electrician when we had the house extended. He was a vegan and really, really into the natural products. Airbnb hosts, we stayed in an Airbnb just before lockdown and the host was enrolled. When you go to spas, again, when we're let out again, it's a perfect place to talk about the way that you normally relax, networking events and business dinners or any kind of dinners, as we've talked about tonight. So they were all the things that I could think of quickly and all the places where I've enrolled people in the past. So I hope that might have given you a few ideas and some food for thought, really, because the key thing is that leads are everywhere. People need us for what we have to offer them, whether it be the product or whether it be the business opportunity, in so many different walks of life. Everywhere we go, we have something amazing to share, something amazing to give. And right now, more than any time of the whole of my life that I've been involved in this industry, the need has never been greater, never ever been greater. And so I hope that you're inspired by that from the point that you have solutions for people, and that every day you are on that mission to find those people that you can change their lives with this product and with this opportunity. You know, we say that we heal physically and we heal financially, and we have the solutions to help people in both ways. So I hope that has helped and it's given you some food for thought, and that you have a great week, and that this week you can go and find many more people to go and share doTERRA and these beautiful, beautiful oils with. So we've got some people in the chat that have said this is their first week, and so that's amazing. So I know, actually, I sort of noticed that there's quite a lot of new people on the call tonight, which is brilliant. It's brilliant to have new faces and new people here to join our community. So I just, Andy, do you have
I wanted
closing words for us?
Yeah, no,
excellent.
Excellent. Thank you very much indeed, Lisa. As you know, next week we have something special lined up for everybody on here, so make sure you tell other people in your teams as well. You know, everybody's welcome on board. Let me just share my screen here. I was just rapidly putting a picture on of this particular guy. Let me just see if I can just put this on here. Next week, there's a guy I know him personally, actually. I did a training, you remember, well, some of you remember, a few months ago now, talking about LinkedIn. I think I called it something like an amateur's guide to LinkedIn. I'd got some training, I'd been putting some stuff into practice that I was sharing you plenty of information. And this was based primarily around about an hour training that I'd heard from a guy called Dan Marsden. And I was introduced to Dan by my wife Sue as well, and I was absolutely blown away, and I came on and shared quite a bit of information. Now Dan is a businessman primarily, but he does do training on social media. He's got a lot of people who are interested very much in what he's doing because he's doing stuff that really works. A lot of people train on things like social media, and particularly LinkedIn, on theory rather than fact of what actually works today. And Dan's actually got a great track record. He's been for 15 years working in certain companies as sales directors as well, of actually using LinkedIn to reach out to other people. Now, I purchased a course from Dan when I saw his training. There was a bigger training I wanted to go to, but I missed it. And he says, don't worry, I am going to be putting a course available, which I did purchase. The day it came out, cost me very little, really, but 4.5 hours training I had, and I've got to tell you, absolutely blown me away. And I'm starting to see personally some great results on LinkedIn from this. Now, I've spoken with Dan, and he said that, like I said, he does do training on social media and does successfully charge many people for his information. But I've cajoled him and spoken to him, and I said, could you come on and do one you know, for the people in doTERRA that we work alongside, and he's agreed to do that, and he adds great value as well to his trainings. He's not just going to come on and, you know, be a sales pitch or anything like that. Really does add great value. So make sure that you join us next Monday at 8:30 and let everybody know about it in the team as well. And he's going to come on, and I'm sure he'll do a Q&A session after as well. Like I said, it's something that I'm really finding that is very, very productive in reaching out and having conversations, not just with everybody, and this is the key part, with the right type of people that you want to be having conversations with for your business. So that's pretty much my part. Is there anything else you wanted to add at all?
No, that's brilliant. Other than to say, don't forget this Thursday. If you haven't already started your Facebook events or open them, please do them after this call and ask either me or Andy to co-host them, so we can help you direct people to Thursday night. It's going to be a great one. Absolutely. So we'll see you here Thursday. That's not on this particular link. That'd be the essentialhealthclass.com link, and obviously back here for next Monday. So thanks for joining us, everybody. Have a fantastic week. See you all soon. See you, everyone. Night, everyone. Night.
Good night. Bye.
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 Thank you. Good night.
Good night,
Thank
everyone.
you. See you. Bye.